It was supposed to be a celebration. 15 years of marriage. A crystal anniversary. The kids were helping set the table, the tea was steeping, and Alla had even wrapped a surprise gift for Yuri. She smiled to herself, thinking, we've been through everything together. Surely this year will be easier. When Yuri came home, he looked exhausted. She handed him the box. Designer socks, he chuckled, pulling them out. And that fancy tea from the boutique. You spoil me. They laughed, kissed, and for a moment, everything felt right. Then he said, "Oh, I forgot my phone charger at the office. I'll be right back." He stepped into the hallway. 10 minutes passed. Then 20. Alla called his name. No answer. She checked every room. He was gone. Half an hour later, he reappeared in the kitchen. Calm, composed, acting as though he had never left. "Where did you go?" she asked. "Just to check something in the car." That night, Alla couldn't sleep. It wasn't just his strange disappearance, it was how normal he made it seem. The next morning, she drove straight to the only person who might understand. Madame Grace, the blind village mystic who had once saved her sister's marriage. "I saw him vanish," Alla confessed. "Then reappear like it was nothing. Baba, I feel like something's pulling him away from me." Madame Grace took her hand. "I see confusion," she murmured. "And a woman. Not a mistress yet, but one who wants to be. Your marriage is in danger." "I knew it," Alla whispered. "He's always at work. I even dress him. I'm a stylist, it's what I do. He looks desirable. Maybe too desirable." "You've drawn eyes to him," Madame Grace said. "And one of them has given him a gift." Alla's heart dropped. "Yes, a tea box. From his secretary. Ilonka. Go see her. But don't accuse. Not yet. You need the truth, not drama." That afternoon, Alla showed up at Yuri's office. "I need a word," she told Ilonka, setting the tea box on the desk. "This yours." "A small gift," Ilonka said with a smile. "From my trip to Sri Lanka." "Cute. And you often bring back gifts for married men." "Excuse me. Let's get one thing straight," Alla hissed. "You surprise my husband again, you're out. And if you tell him I was here, you'll regret it." She stormed out. That evening, Alla made a romantic dinner. The kids were at her mother's. She waited. And waited. Yuri didn't come home. His phone was off. By morning, he still hadn't returned. In 15 years, Yuri had never stayed out all night. Now, he was gone without a trace. Alla panicked, called his office, and learned that he had left early the previous evening after a woman called. "If he's cheating," Ilonka told her, "it's not with me." Back at Madame Grace's cottage, Alla collapsed onto the wooden chair. "He's gone," she said. "I've lost him." The old woman nodded. "Tell me again, what did you gift him?" "Socks. It's tradition." Madame Grace's lips tightened. "Then you may have cursed your own marriage." "What?" "They were designer. There's an old belief, gifting a man socks may send him walking out of your life. You've given him strength. And now, perhaps, the freedom to leave. I've given him socks for years. He resisted. Until now. The final pair tipped the scale." Alla trembled. "Where is he?" "He's not with a lover," Madame Grace said. "He's with someone else. Someone from his past." Alla's breath caught. "His mother. You know already. Go home. Collect every pair of socks you've ever given him. Burn them. Tonight. After sunset." Alla returned home, to find Yuri and his mother sitting calmly in the kitchen. "She broke her arm," Yuri said. "She'll be staying here for a few weeks." "Here. In our bedroom. She needs care. Her other son can't take her. She threw you out 16 years ago. And now you bring her home. She's my mother, Alla." The tension simmered. Yuri slept on the couch. His mother ruled the kitchen. And Alla silently began gathering socks. That night, under the cover of darkness, she burned them, one by one. She whispered, "Let this break the curse." But curses don't end so easily. The next morning, I woke up early, still restless from the night before. Yuri was already gone. I checked my phone. No messages, no missed calls. Nothing. It was like the man just evaporated from my life. Panic started to settle in. I tried to calm myself. Maybe he had a really early meeting? Still, I couldn't ignore the hollow ache in my chest. Something felt off. I decided to go straight to Yuri's office. When I arrived, his secretary Ilonka looked up from her desk with her usual polished smile. But something in her eyes told me she was surprised to see me. "Good morning. Is Yuri Ivanovich in?" I asked, keeping my tone neutral. Ilonka blinked. "No. He didn't come in today." "Did he call?" I asked, pretending not to sound too desperate. "No, nothing. I assumed he took the day off. Maybe he's with you." I shook my head. "No. He didn't come home last night." Her expression changed. Now she looked genuinely concerned. "That's odd. He left yesterday just before 6. And did he say anything? Where he was going?" Ilonka hesitated, then lowered her voice. "Actually, yes. He got a phone call from someone. A woman. He said something about having to go help." "A woman?" I asked sharply. Ilonka nodded. "I don't know who it was. But he seemed tense. He left in a hurry. That was it. The final confirmation I didn't want. If it wasn't her, then who was it? And why didn't he call me?" I walked out of the building with my heart pounding. I couldn't stop the thoughts swirling in my head. Where was he? What was he doing? Who was he with? I didn't know what else to do, so I drove back to Baba Grace. When she saw me, she didn't ask questions. She simply motioned for me to sit. "He's still missing?" she asked, touching my hand gently. I nodded. "Baba, he's gone. No call, no text. It's been over 24 hours. Ilonka said he got a call from a woman and left the office. That's all I know." "Let me see," she said. I handed her a picture of Yuri. She stared at it for a long time, then closed her eyes. "He's not with another woman," she said finally. I frowned. "How can you be so sure?" "Because I see him with a woman, yes. But it's not what you think. This woman is family." I blinked. "Family? She is older. There's sorrow around her. A broken arm. Pain in her heart. Does this mean anything to you?" And then it hit me. "His mother," I whispered. "He hasn't spoken to her in years." "Then go home," Baba said. "He's there. With her. But listen to me. Don't jump to conclusions. Do not let your fear destroy what is still whole. First, gather all the socks you ever gave him." I stared. "The socks?" "Yes. The ones you gave him. Burn them after sunset. Burn the socks." I repeated slowly. "It's the symbol," she said firmly. "You gifted him socks and forgot the old warning. Socks push a man to walk away. And he has, hasn't he? If you want him to return, to truly return, burn them. And never give socks again." I thanked her and left. The advice sounded strange, yes, but nothing about this week had been normal. When I got home, Yuri was sitting at the kitchen table, sipping tea. His mother was in our guest room, her arm in a sling. He looked up, surprised to see me. "Where were you last night?" I asked. "I'm sorry," he said. Her arm. She slipped and fell. She needed help. I didn't have time to explain. My phone died. "So, you brought her here?" "She's got no one else, Alla. Her other son is in the village, and his wife refuses to let her in." What was I supposed to do? My chest tightened, but I said nothing. That night, after sunset, I gathered every single pair of socks I'd ever given him. I didn't think about the money I'd spent or the sentimental value. I took them to the backyard, lit a match, and burned them all. The flame hissed and cracked as if it knew something I didn't. I didn't know if it would work. I didn't even care if it was just superstition. But I felt something lift off my shoulders, like a weight, like doubt, like fear. Tomorrow would bring answers. And I would be ready. The days that followed felt like I was living someone else's life. Yuri started working from home as promised. At first, I was relieved. I thought things were finally turning around after the ritual with the socks. But soon, I realized something was wrong. He was more distant than ever. Yes, he was home, but it felt like only his body was present. His mind was elsewhere. And my mother-in-law, well, she had made herself quite comfortable. She ruled our apartment like a queen on a collapsing throne. The remote was always hers. The kids weren't allowed to speak too loudly. Even what we cooked was subject to her approval. Soup again, she scoffed one evening. My Yurko used to eat proper food when he lived at home. Not this cafeteria water. My hands were trembling as I stirred the pot. I bit my tongue. That night, as I put the kids to sleep, I overheard her whispering to Yuri in the kitchen. You know, son, you used to be stronger. She's made you soft. Look at this place. Cluttered, chaotic. And those children. They don't even greet me properly. Yuri didn't say much. But he didn't defend me either. That silence pierced deeper than any insult. I wanted to scream. Instead, I stayed quiet. Until the next morning. I stood by the window with my coffee, watching the fog lift from the rooftops. My heart felt heavy. I missed how we used to be, before life got in the way. Before his mother moved in. Before the socks, the shouting, the jealousy. I remembered the second part of the ritual. Babusha had told me that if I wanted to truly free Yuri from his mother's influence, I had to do something bold. I needed his mother to give him socks herself. Only then would the grip she had on him loosen. That evening, I decided to try. While preparing tea, I turned to her with the calmest voice I could muster. Maybe you could help me pick something nice for Yuri. I was thinking of getting him socks. He likes those silly ones with the stripes. She paused, suspicious. You want me to buy socks for my own son? I nodded, smiling. It would mean a lot to him. You know how he loves when his family thinks of him. To my surprise, she softened. All right. I suppose I can pick something. He's still my boy after all. A few days later, she gave them to him. Here. So your feet don't freeze in this drafty place, she muttered. Yuri laughed and hugged her. I watched silently, hoping this was the moment the energy shifted. And it did. Bit by bit, Yuri started noticing the tension she brought into our home. The criticism, the passive aggression, the manipulation. One night, after another unnecessary argument, he finally said, Mom, maybe it's time you went home. You've recovered well. And I think you miss your own space. She tried to protest, of course. Claimed she was unwanted, unloved. But Yuri was firmed up. You'll always be welcome here, but we need to breathe again. She left the next morning. Begrudgingly. That night, Yuri and I sat together on the couch for the first time in what felt like months. I'm sorry, he said, reaching for my hand. I should have seen how hard it's been for you. I looked at him, truly looked, and saw the man I fell in love with. The one I fought so hard to keep. I just wanted you to come home, I whispered. I'm here, he said. And I'm not going anywhere. But just as I let my guard down, something unexpected happened. I found a note under my pillow that night. It was folded neatly and smelled faintly of citrus. In a handwriting I didn't recognize, it said, Not everything you chased away is truly gone. I froze. Was it from his mother? Or someone else? That night, I barely slept. The note under my pillow haunted me like a whisper from the walls. Not everything you chased away is truly gone. What did it mean? Who left it? I searched the apartment the next morning. Every drawer, every corner. Yuri swore he didn't write it. His mother was gone, and the kids didn't even know how to spell everything yet. But something shifted after that note. Yuri became distracted. Not distant like before, but tense. He kept checking his phone. At night, he would sit on the balcony long after everyone had gone to bed, staring out at nothing. I noticed small things first. His cologne was different, stronger, unfamiliar. His shirts smelled of another detergent. And once, I found a strand of long blonde hair on his jacket. It wasn't mine. It wasn't his mother's. I didn't want to believe it. We had just started putting things back together. But deep down, something was unraveling again. One afternoon, I followed him. I know, it's not something I'm proud of. But I had to know. He said he had a work meeting across town, and I took a cab a few minutes behind him. He wasn't at the cafe he mentioned. He was standing outside a building. A residential one. And then she appeared. Ilona, his former assistant. The one I had once accused of flirting with him. She looked radiant, too radiant for someone just running errands. She handed him something in a paper bag and leaned in a little too close. I snapped a photo with my phone. My hands were shaking. I couldn't breathe. I didn't confront him that night. I waited. I wanted to be sure. Instead, I called the one person I never thought I would reach out to again, Babuzha. I told her everything. The note. The meeting. The fear. Her voice was calm. Did you burn all the socks? Yes. Then this isn't about socks anymore. This is about a shadow from the past that was never dealt with. What kind of shadow? I asked. One Yuri never told you about, she said. Find his old wallet. The one he stopped using when you got him the fancy leather one for your anniversary. There's something in there you need to see. I rummaged through our bedroom that night when Yuri was in the shower. The wallet was hidden behind a stack of old phone boxes. I opened it. Receipts, expired credit cards. And then, folded in half, a photo. It was Yuri and Ilona. Smiling. Sitting by a lake. Her hand was on his thigh. On the back. Summer of us. Yours forever. I. My stomach dropped. I remembered that summer. He said he was on a business trip in Lviv. He even brought me back a souvenir magnet. So it was a lie. I confronted him that night. I held up the photo. Is this why you've been distant all over again? His face went pale. He sat down without a word. I told you nothing happened, he finally said. And it didn't then. What do you mean then? She came back. She reached out after my mom left. She said she was going through a hard time. I only saw her twice. You lied to me. Again. I didn't want to lose you, he said. I thought if I ignored her, she'd go away. But she kept calling. Showing up. Slipping things into my pockets. Letters. Notes. That one under your pillow. It was hers. I froze. She was in our apartment. She said she wanted to say goodbye. I told her never to come back. The next day, I changed the locks. But it wasn't enough. That evening, our daughter Marika came to me with something in her tiny hand. Look what I found in Papa's jacket, she said. A tiny bottle of perfume. The label read, Forever Yours. It was Ilona's scent. I knew it. I went to Babuzha again. I couldn't live like this. Not knowing if my husband belonged to me or to a ghost from his past. She has attached herself to him, Babuzha said. Not just with flirtation, but with intent. You need to sever the tie. She handed me a thin red ribbon and a small packet of herbs. Wrap this ribbon around something that belongs to both of you. A photo, your wedding invitation, a lock of your hair. Tie it tight. Then place it outside, under the moonlight, and speak these words. She whispered them. They sounded ancient. Powerful. That night, while Yuri slept, I did everything she said. I buried the ribbon-wrapped token in the soil of our flower pot on the balcony. I whispered the words 3 times. And I waited. The next morning, Yuri looked different. His eyes were softer. His phone untouched. He hugged me for the first time in weeks. Not out of habit, but love. I'm sorry, he said. She's gone. And I don't want to lose what we have. But something still doesn't feel right. Because 2 nights later, another note appeared. No signature. Just 5 chilling words. You'll never be rid of me. That night, Alla couldn't sleep. Her mind raced with doubts, fears, and exhaustion. But she had made her decision. She would not allow her family to fall apart, no matter how complicated things had become. The ritual with the socks worked before, and now she had one last chance to make things right. The next morning, she woke up early, made breakfast for the children, and packed a small bag of items. She would visit Baba Grace one final time. For guidance, for clarity, for peace. I need to know this is over, Alla said, handing the old woman a bundle of photos and a small worn-out pair of socks that belonged to her husband. I've done everything you told me. I made peace with his mother, I supported him, I burned the socks. But something still feels off. Baba Grace took the items and placed them into a woven basket. She sprinkled herbs over them, lit a small candle, and began murmuring under her breath. You've untied many knots in your marriage, she finally said. But there's still one left, and it's not with your husband. It's within you. Within me. Yes, child. You still carry bitterness. Fear. You feel second best in your own life. That is what still haunts your marriage. Alla sat in silence, staring at the flame. You must do one more thing. When you return home, you must throw a celebration. Not for an anniversary, not for your husband, but for yourself. Cook your favorite meal. Dress in your best clothes. Invite your family to celebrate you. And at the end of that night, give your husband something from you. Not socks, not a tie. Give him your truth. My truth. Tell him what you feel, what you want, what you fear. And listen to him. Only then will the last shadow leave your home. With tears in her eyes, Alla nodded. 2 days later, she did exactly as Baba Grace instructed. She told the children it was Mommy's day, baked her favorite cake, lit candles, and wore the dress she hadn't worn in years. That evening, they all sat together, even her mother-in-law, who for the first time, complimented Alla's cooking. When the kids went to bed, Alla asked her husband to sit with her on the balcony. There, under the stars, she spoke. Yura, I've spent so much time fearing I'd lose you that I forgot how to live with you. I feared other women. Your mother. Your job. Even your socks. But the truth is, I've been scared to ask for what I need. I need you to see me. Not as a stylist. Not just as a mom. Me, your wife. Your partner. Yuri took her hand gently. And I need you to trust that I never stopped seeing you, he said. I let things slip. I got tired, overwhelmed. But I never stopped loving you. They sat in silence for a moment, then embraced, a quiet, solid embrace of 2 people who had weathered the storm and survived. A month later, Yuri's mother decided to return to her home, not because anyone asked her to, but because she felt that the couple needed their space again. I saw the way he looks at you now, she told Alla with a smile. Just like he did 15 years ago. The house felt lighter. The air warmer. And one night, while folding laundry, Yuri pulled out a tiny pair of newborn socks from his pocket. What's this? He asked, raising an eyebrow. Alla smiled. That's your next big adventure, she whispered. Baba Grace was right. The last knot had been untied. And with it, love had returned, stronger, deeper, and freer than ever before.